Good morning, everybody. It's Michael Watson here from StorageCraft in Brisbane. Just a couple of minutes to 11:30. Just wanted to do a couple of things before we get started. If it's possible, maybe somebody can just put a quick question or a quick thumbs up that the screen is now visible and you can see the title page of the presentation. I think someone's put their hand up there, so I'm pretty sure we're good to go. All right, so that's cool. All right, so good to see some friendly faces on the call as well. So let me just minimise the window so I can get the full view of the presentation for you guys here. So okay, all right, guys. So right, we're now on 11:30, so we'll pretty much get started. So today, welcome. 9:30 in some of our locations around Australia, 11:30 here on the East Coast. So half an hour to lunchtime and 30 minutes to morning tea for some of you. So thank you to all those who have joined us from other regions across Asia as well, and look forward to running through the product overview later today of StorageCraft, the growing product suite that we have, and also the potential selling strategies that you can link to the StorageCraft portfolio. So as we dive in, we'll just quickly move on to onto some points of the agenda for today. We'll run through obviously the product set. We'll run through the StorageCraft mission, so who we are, how we've evolved over the last few years, where we're headed. The challenges and the unique challenges that we see from a pain point, a customer pain point today, and how we address those. Also looking at a particular selling methodology. So I've got a bit of heritage in storage and backup myself, and some of the fun things that we learn over the years is how a story or telling a story can actually be a unique part of a selling strategy. Obviously, in these troubled times of COVID-19, and there are some truly devastating things happening out there, there are still problems that need to be solved for businesses today. And if we think of sales as a meeting of the minds and adding value while we solve problems, then absolutely it's a good time to be out there having conversations with your partners and with your clients, and right now is certainly one of those times. I know every day we're having conversations and we're helping ease some burdens on businesses as it stands. So I think we've got a fair few products. I think we're going to cover about 6 or so products today and talk about some resources in Partner Zone and those sorts of things at the end. So again, getting closer to just before lunchtime for some of us, so we'll get right into it. So StorageCraft from a mission statement perspective, right? So we had a goal as we broadened our product set out. We always want client data to be safe, accessible, and optimized. So we've broadened our product suite to be able to cater for a number of those things. So you'll see that throughout the call, but indeed we've certainly strengthened our story around data protection, data management, and improving that both in a hardware, software, and cloud services level as well. So a little bit about StorageCraft. If this is the first time you've been introduced to StorageCraft on a call or on a webinar. So we were founded in 2003. Organic growth for probably the better part of 13 years and throughout the globe. So started out as a technology company in Utah and scaled out to offices across the globe. So a really fantastic story. And throughout that time, we've had a significant number of value-added resellers, systems integrators, and improve that around our MSP growth, particularly in the last 4 to 5 years, where we'll focus a little bit on that offering today and what we can drive in terms of that growth as well. So around the 2016 period, we had a large investment from TA Associates, and that has largely helped the growth and the breadth of the product suite today, and allows us to address multiple challenges and various challenges as we see today. So moving right through, right, these sorts of things. Now, I personally, I've never come across a gigaflop compute, right? However, multi-gig networks, they're a big thing. Petabyte capacities worth of data, right? And things like, I guess, the more network, the more compute you throw at something, and the more storage you throw at things, and the richness in data sizes and those sorts of things, the natural thing that occurs is that humans will create more data. So we're getting to that point where a little agent on servers and sending things to the cloud isn't just the only way to protect things. So we've had to realise over the last 4 years that we need to protect data where it lies, and look at the specific areas of growth, particularly when storage is doubling. I think it's growing 90% growth. My window's a little bit blocked, so I can't quite look at that stat that we've got there from IBM. So there it is. Data's growing 10x in the next 5 years. So the important one there is obviously around the 90% of the data that has been produced globally in the past 2 years. So 90% of the data that exists currently in the globe has been produced in the last 2 years. So phenomenal in terms of what the next 5 to 10 years will bring in terms of challenges and whatnot. So those statistics come from obviously IBM and IDC, as you can see there as well. So just try and shift to the next slide. Having a bit of difficulty here. There we go. Okay. So very important to then understand, right, where is that growth coming from, right? Is it coming from the traditional ERP databases where we've got, where we've got SQL, we've got Oracle, all those sorts of things, or is it machine generated? Is it marketing? Is it mail? Where's it coming from? X-ray? Is it medical data? I guess what we've got to do there, and as IT practitioners, we've kind of got to think about what we can do and how we can segment, those growth aspects, right? Because we've got to protect data differently. Right? We can't send terabytes and terabytes and terabytes of data to a backup server every day, and get the best outcome from a backup window and a recovery perspective. So we've got to start thinking about how we protect data where it lies, right? Some of it's going to be high-performing data, and some of it's going to be, test and dev. It's going to be file. It's going to be engineering. It could be archived information. So it's about trying to understand where that data resides. Make sure that we're creating a platform as well that doesn't, I guess, hamstring, create a noose for IT admins and managers out there, right? So we want to make sure we're removing bottlenecks wherever we can, and if that's a case of being able to protect data where it lies, right, with an unstructured file services platform, then that's certainly a direction we can take as part of our broader protection strategy. So yeah, as kind of touched on this in the last slide a little bit, right? So I mean, at this point in time, the one thing that's obviously not here are things like pandemic, right? So reasons for downtime, and also the rise of ransomware, which is quite critical at the moment. So certainly since the introduction of, obviously the last few months with the global pandemic, we've actually seen a rise in cybercrime and crypto locker and those sorts of things. Every day we're getting phone calls, and our support team are managing through, but helping organisations recover from crypto locker. So, sometimes it can be fire theft, sometimes it can be human error, power outages, and sometimes more malicious. But the cost of downtime still remains the same. And we still need to make sure that we're securing environments, we're securing backups, we're reducing the backup windows, and we're adhering to a fast recovery where we can. Okay, so again, this one's a crucial one at the moment. So we do have a number of layers that we can address for our protection against ransomware. Right. So, some of that is just in the protection of backup. Some of that is in, the remediation side of things and the restoration, right? So obviously you can see what's in front of you on the slide. The biggest challenge that that we have from a StorageCraft perspective is making sure that we communicate, the levels of strength that we have in our solutions. So we've got a very, very broad channel, as mentioned before, and we've got the ability to lock down our backups. And I'd suggest for those of you that are on the webinar today to reach out to your local SE for how you can enhance the security around your Shadow Protect backups or your SPX backups. And then also think when you've got a large scaled file serving environment, or indeed a large backup repository, how we can provide a further level of strength with that with our OneSafe platform as well. So again, there's a security element there, but then there's also the things that we can do with our product portfolio to enhance the protection of your backups as well. All right, so the StorageCraft product suite. Right? We want to make sure that with every single platform that you can deploy, right, it's modular, it can be flexible, and we're always forward thinking about how we can improve the offering and keep scale with that data growth. Right? So in terms of managing the explosive data growth, you'll hear about some things about our OneSafe platform and what we're doing with that. In terms of simplifying the data management and the data protection side of things, you'll hear about our One System offering. You'll hear about Solo. You'll also hear about the things like ShadowSafe and what we can do there. Achieving, total business continuity. We'll be talking about our DR as a service platform, our cloud services platform. Our OneSafe platform will also help you, as well as ShadowSafe, help you reduce costs and inefficiency. And obviously the whole time we're trying to protect against data security breaches as well, and ensuring that we've got your data protected at all times. Okay, so this is kind of an interesting kind of webinar. So when we put this together, and the good news is you'll get a presentation from Pete Burris later in the series, who's our New South Wales ACT Territory Manager. You'll also get one from Andrea Martin, who looks after our New Zealand space as well. So the approach that we wanted to take into this one was thinking about the actual conversations and the sales stories that come in line with the conversations about selling products, right? So we're going to focus on a particular methodology, right? And align that to the product slides as they go through. So it's a little bit experimental. We haven't done it before, but it's certainly a methodology in terms of conversation piece that I use when having conversations either with our managed service providers or with our resellers, or certainly with our end users as well. So again, products by themselves are a thing of features, a thing of outcomes, and certainly when we're able to create some value around them, either as StorageCraft to a channel or as channel partners to your customers, how you present those features and those values around the story that you provide can often create a lot of value for your specific end user, your specific customers. It's also about sticking to an approach that provides somewhat of a repeated story or a repeated strategy that you're able to pivot with and work with at any point in time. Now, there's a little bit of stuff that's been stolen from here in terms of I've leveraged a bit from my own selling past. Sales leaders I've had, like guys like Craig, Max, and Glenn. More recently, received a book from Tony, who was in our European team. And this specific approach is taken from a book called New Sales Simplified, and it's only a very, very small excerpt from the book, and I suggest if you're doing prospecting or having conversations out there, get through the whole book and have a look at it. But this is only a subset of the whole process, right? And obviously what we can get through between now and lunchtime. So as we we'll dive right into it. And so it's effectively the methodology and the approach is about a three-part piece, right? So most things that that you have with a conversation will have a beginning, a middle, and an end. And it's amazing when I have conversations across the country. I actually first did an exercise like this in Perth, where we went through and we worked with a group that we support, the SMBIT professional channel, and we wanted to go through this structure where we have the beginning, right? And so the beginning of our sales story is not one where we're trying to sell our products, right? It's where we're having a conversation. We've just been able to basically start up the conversation, and we're trying to create some relevance and some value, right? So we want to make sure that we position ourselves really quickly and really succinctly. So from a StorageCraft perspective, it's about doing data protection, it's disaster recovery. We provide hardware and software solutions and cloud-based solutions, right? So MSPs and solution providers, they look to us when they're concerned, right? When they're frustrated with multiple points of management. They've lived through the hard challenges of trying to recover data from a ransomware attack or a hardware failure. There's other things like Office 365 is exploding, right, in terms of its usage, and data that's getting put in there is very valuable at this point in time, and more so than it has been in the last 12 months. And Australia's had a huge uptake of that. So we've got to make sure that that first part of that conversation isn't so much about the products. It's more so about empathizing and understanding the challenges, right, and being able to articulate that to a particular or a potential buyer that we're talking to. So I'm not going to go through that word for word, obviously, because you can see it in front of you, right? The very next piece that we want to apply as part of this methodology is our differentiators, right? So what makes us unique, and how do we relate them back to the points that we've just raised, right? So we want to make sure that we're having the conversation, we're opening up the door to some concerns and some frustrations, and then we're showing how we uniquely address each one, right? So obviously, some unique things about StorageCraft. You might use a product at the start of the month, and you can actually bill for that at the start of the month, and we'll bill you at the end of the month from an MSP perspective. We have a full product set from capturing a backup all the way through to a single click button in the cloud from a DR testing and regular recovery perspective. Every week, and I kind of enjoy this part of my employment at StorageCraft, which is every week I get a phone call saying, "Geez, your software saved us from crypto this time," and it's it's quite scary how rampant that is out there. So making sure that we're addressing each one of the concerns that we see at the start, and this is it's not rocket science, this sort of thing, but it does take practice to stick to it and to be effective. So you can use this as an introductory conversation with your customers, or you can go specific in terms of each product set. And certainly I've got some points here around each of our products, and we'll go through those as we go. But the other thing that we've got to think about is how we also are able to validate the concerns and then validate our differentiators, right? So we want to make sure that we've got a story that has a person, it's got a company, it's got a position, it's got some emotive thought process as to how that solution and how our products and solutions help that business, and more importantly help that individual. Because when we have a conversation with a particular client, with a director, with a managed service, a client manager, we're having a conversation about them and what makes the solutions work for them personally, right? So all these sorts of things kind of lead to a bit of a methodology around our products and how we address those global challenges, and then bring them back to a space that really makes sense and is relevant to to the human that we're having the conversation with at the time, right? Providing value and through every step of the way. Now, this is just a sales story, right? So, throughout this process, I'm sure you'll have a number of conversations that then start to ensue as a result. Right? So this is just the start of it. Okay. So from a StorageCraft perspective and from a traditional flagship solution that we've had, if we can start probably with that process of what we're looking at here. We've got everything on that slide. We've got SPX agents, we've got a central control admin, we've got our cloud DR platform, image manager's doing its thing in there, right? But really, when we bring relevance to that story, we've kind of got to think about the solution that we have. So, StorageCraft, we provide data protection and data management solutions. Right? Partners come to us when they've got too many platforms to manage, right? They're having trouble reconciling the billing of multiple vendors, just to protect some data and put it into a cloud. Right? They've got multiple procurement methodologies and they're frustrated with the amount of time it takes to reconcile a bill every month. They're frustrated with the limited flexibility that they have with their existing products, right? So, we then think about, okay, there are some things that customers are frustrated with, right? So then we say, well, we're experiencing huge growth in terms of market share, in terms of our product spread, right? And what we can do, and some of the reasons for that are things like a single-click DR solution. So where a partner might be running a backup to us and a backup to their data center, just a backup to to a remote site in the data center. They've then got to keep patching their own DR equipment and all those sorts of things. For us, it's just a single click, right? And you can run it to the StorageCraft cloud. It's all monthly, right? It's a single platform, right? StorageCraft have a single platform for key generation, all the way through to billing, all the way through to access into the cloud, right? And all the way back to failing back to the on-premise solution when the disaster's over, right? So we've got that whole process and it's all through our MSP portal. We simplify the billing of clients through our integration with RMM and PSA technologies as well. So, that's another positive that we can talk about just with this product set here. We then start to dive a bit deeper in terms of like a reference at this point in time that might work. So I have changed a company name to protect the innocent here, but an example from a customer reference or a story here is Troy from Technology R Us, right? Basically was so pleased with the solution of the StorageCraft Cloud DR platform, he consolidated from what was maybe a Microsoft platform and was able to wherever he's replicating now, right? It is only offsite to the StorageCraft cloud. He can test DR every month, and where his clients can't replicate out, he's still maintaining a drive swapping process. But the thing that really stood out for Troy and his team was they were presenting to through to a board meeting actually for one of their clients, and it was raised. DR was raised as a previous audit concern, and so they were given a couple of weeks to do a bit of research and put a solution together for this specific customer of theirs. And the outcome was within the board meeting, the consultant from Troy's business basically led them through the single-click DR and actually showed the machines and showed their whole environment, their whole production environment actually starting up in a sand pit, and all of a sudden the customer of theirs was absolutely happy. Now, obviously, I can't talk about the end users and those sorts of things in that instance. But effectively, the outcome was, a proposal submitted, and a managed customer that's been underway for close to 12 months now. So having that flexibility to be able to present just a single click, watch some servers stand up, actually conduct a DR test in line with a board meeting is a pretty powerful story. Right. So then we're moving to our next gen story. right? So ShadowSafe is an application that we launched, I think, in about October 2018, and aim to provide a part of a holistic story for StorageCraft in the future. So, you know, in terms of organisations looking to deploy ShadowSafe or considering this environment, right? When you've got multiple panes of glass, you've got the concern and you're frustrated with, you know, having to deploy things to each individual machine, and you know, long-term updates and things are a bit challenging. You've not got a single view of what's happening. It can make life a bit hard and frustrating. So ShadowSafe is aimed at providing that single pane of glass, providing a breadth of backup and recovery options. So things like agentless backups, policy-based and SLA-based view of what's happening in the environment. Certainly being able to roll out you know, deployments of backups, roll out policies to protect you know, 100 machines at a time, because we're integrated with ESX, right? We integrate at the VM tools level, so we don't have to worry about the you know, the complexity of an agent on every machine, right? But being able to do so in such a quick fashion and take away the micromanaging of backups, right? So being able to deploy a policy and it automatically schedules when you do your backups, and then therefore simplifying the restore process with that integration, right? So moving from, you know, maybe 10 or 12 clicks per recovery of a machine, which is what our competitors are stuck with, that you know, you're now down to basically 4 clicks and an instant restore, right? So the ability to understand where that's going to be restored to in your ESX infrastructure, and then it happening near instantly. So, you know, if we're talking about, you know, speeds and feeds, which often happens as part of this process, you know, we're under a few seconds to kick off the deployment, and I think it's a matter of milliseconds for our ability to stand up a machine and then start backfilling into your ESX infrastructure. So the particular reference that we'd have here is Dylan from Masters IT. Particularly like the subscription model of deployment that we had for ShadowSafe for his organisation. Dylan was particularly challenged in terms of, you know, what was happening with regards to hypervisors and transitioning away from a competitor of ours. Yep, that was Veeam in that instance. Right, and so the challenge there for Dylan was, okay, how do I maintain flexibility and the ability to move around hypervisors? You know, it might be Acropolis, it might be another KVM base, it could be Hyper-V, right? What's going to be the best way to manage my infrastructure or protect my machines? And sure enough, the ShadowSafe application gave him that flexibility, regardless of the hypervisor that he was on. All right, so we're through a few of these now, and we're getting a little bit closer to midday now. So we'll spend a bit of time on this slide, and then we'll probably rush through the remaining products. So the thing about our OneSafe platform, and we've been lucky enough, certainly from a northern region perspective, to have a fair few of these deployed across the country in Queensland and also Western Australia. We found 3 main use cases for this platform, right? So the first one is a backup and recovery platform. There's some great efficiencies that you receive out of this platform. It's a unique object store underneath that shares simple SMB and NFS out the top. So the 3 use cases that work really well here is OneSafe for Veeam, right? OneSafe for file serving, and also our OneSystem solution, whereby we're able to combine the OneSafe with our ShadowSafe application and provide a single pane of glass for that. All right, so this is interesting, right? So I'm going to talk about Veeam a little bit here. It's rarely done in StorageCraft world. So OneSafe with Veeam, right? So Veeam customers really look to this OneSafe solution, right? When their Veeam backups, right, it's been deployed on a platform. It could be some NAS, some departmental NAS, or some high-end SAN storage, right? When those backups are taking up too much space, right, and they're frustrated, right? Frustrated with having to basically remove some of the areas of protection or the amount of retention that they wanted to have on premise, right? So they've bought a software application. It's going well, but the storage can't keep up with the amount of data that Veeam's throwing at it, right? It's a common challenge. Other examples are things where they're concerned about that. Remember that ERP thing, storage isn't growing or data's not growing inside the ERP platform that much, but there is a stringent level of compliance and retention that needs to be adhered to there. And if the storage is running out of capacity for whatever reason, and we have to compromise that, then obviously that raises concern for any IT manager out there. Right? So I guess one of the things that the hardware team at StorageCraft did was launch an integrated white paper with Veeam, concentrating on the improved security that you get with the OneSafe appliance, right? How simple it is to set up, how simple it is to use, right? How easy it is to replicate, right? So, I had a joke with a product manager at the time when I was working through an opportunity around the complexity or the lack thereof in terms of setting up the replication at a OneSafe layer to be able to protect multiple backups from Veeam, and how you can quite easily just transfer the profile and protection profile to the other side. So I was expecting that there needed to be a lot more detail required to get you to replicate from site A to site B and achieve the efficiency necessary. But it is true, true to its value proposition. It's easy to use, it's easy to set up, and easy to protect at an enterprise level. The dedupe and compression benefits certainly handle a great deal of the challenges that are thrown up when we're constantly throwing, differentials, incrementals, full backups. We're able to lock down our backups every 90 seconds, of the files that land on that device every 90 seconds. So we're certainly improving the level of security when the likes of CryptoLocker are in and around. So, what I mean by that is obviously we're presenting the data out as an NFS or SMB share, and we're sharing backup files, or we're sharing actual files out of there. What we're able to do by storing data as objects, when that data is stored on the appliance every 90 seconds, we're taking snapshots of it, and we're snapshotting the objects, right? And multiple objects can present or make up a file, right? So when we lock down one of those snapshots, and those snapshots are immutable, then if, let's say, crypto does get into the environment, then obviously we're going to be storing more data and new objects, but we're not going to be writing over the old data that we've got locked away. Right, so a particular reference from this is Manish, right? So Manish had a challenge of having to store data in 3 locations in the South Pacific: Brisbane, Fiji, and Papua New Guinea. And some of the challenges is, as I'm sure you can imagine on the call, are things like low bandwidth links between countries, the protection of data in each one of those sites. So we really needed something that continued to increase the retention at each one of those sites. Right, was very, very happy with Veeam as an application, just wanted to be able to store more data for longer. Right, so we needed a smart platform that could do that, and certainly the dedupe and the compression benefits of the OneSafe adhered that to a level for Manish, but certainly there was another advantage that Manish really liked about the solution, which was basically if they did need to leave the country in a hurry, the flexibility of the solution and the unique nature of an object store allows you to be able to shut the system down, grab the disks, and then restart them in another location, in another appliance at another time, still with all the data, all the shares intact. So that was a unique one to, whoops, sorry, we'll get to solo in a minute. Sorry, guys. We've got another two things to consider here. So this is the OneSafe file serving side of things, right? So again, we've got customers are considering this as a file serving platform when backups for unstructured data like growing at 2-5 times per year, not per year, every 3 years, right? you know, that costs a lot to be able to shift that data across the network. It costs a lot to be able to get that data, you know, to an alternate cloud or somewhere else, right? So backups get expensive, and you've got to start planning for the longer term here, right? We want to make sure that, you know, organisations aren't frustrated with their backup windows, right? The lengthy, you know, they're frustrated with the lengthy recovery involved in recovering large file systems, right? The need for new projects and new terabytes which just show up on your network because the marketing team have been able to produce a great product, and that's where we're moving. That's where we're moving a lot of our strengths to. Comes to a server and storage admin guy and goes, oh my God, how are we going to handle this? I can't back this up with what I've got. Right, so we start to think about things differently, right? We start to do things where you can scale out, you can buy as you grow, right? We're protecting every 90 seconds, so we've just removed a backup window, right? Where we're able to replicate pretty much on that same constant, and we're only sending deduped, compressed, unique objects to an alternate site. Right, so we're able to maintain thin replication and long-term recovery points at both sites. We're able to protect data where it lands. Okay, a quick reference here is Tim from a mining company. So again, won't name the company, but Tim knows who he is. Basically, Tim really enjoyed the simplicity of the solution. Right. The challenge that the team had was he had multiple sites 350 kilometres from any capital city, right, or any major place. So we need to make sure that infrastructure, when it goes in, can be protected, secured, and work without pain. Previous approaches to this kind of technology, and you've got to imagine you've got mine site engineers that are doing, you know, getting lots of you know, big data pieces, we're getting models, we're getting, you know, geospatial type stuff, and we've got to put that on the network somewhere and then grind it down. Right? A lot of that data is repetitive, but as soon as that gets into a backup and protection regime, things blow out. So the ability for Tim to go to his CEO, go, look, we're protected, you know, from things like crypto and those sorts of things because of the platform that we're now using, was certainly a good space for him to be in, as well as knowing that being 350 kilometres away from a platform, he's not managing servers, storage and switches. He's just got a single appliance that protects data where it lands and replicates it to an alternate site for redundancy as well. Right. The third scenario that I'm going to talk about on this slide, and this is the last one, I promise, is the one system solution. Right. So the one system solution we have combines the strength of our OneSafe platform and also our ShadowSafe software, right? So what we're able to do here is we're able to combine the best part of our next-gen backup platform or software and our next-gen backup hardware platform, combine them into one single pane of glass where you can manage both the storage and the backup in the single spot, right? So obviously with a single portal, single access point just at that area alone, we've got an element of improved security against things like crypto locker. The ability to add storage and data efficiencies around dedupe and compression, we're also adding to that story as well. Right? Things like the 90-second snapshots of data that reside on that platform, we're locking that down even further. Right? It's a single vendor solution, and it's one whereby we're removing a lot of the constraints that have existed from, you know, some of our solutions in the past and also from our competitors as well. So most recently we had some conversations with some gentlemen in Brisbane, and some of the things that they really liked about this combined solution, obviously a single pane of glass, the reduced storage cost that they're going to get, the number of full backups that they can run for their clients now without consuming space, the ability to view everything from a single spot, and also the improved restore methodology. So 4 clicks, you know, reduced down from a number that was mentioned before, and also a single vendor to call as well, and that capability and that flexibility is something that helped them jump onto this platform as well recently. Okay. So this is a product I haven't talked about yet in terms of this call, but this is certainly linked with the ShadowSafe and the OneSafe story. And what we're seeing with this platform is flexibility, right? So So it's really getting to those areas whereby, you might have had a remote site, you might have a few, 1 or 2 data centers where you've got some larger one-safe appliances, and you've got your virtual machine policies, and you've got your ESX farm, right? We're able to protect, a number of machines via policy inside those data centers. But what about the edge sites, right? How do we protect those? Do we want those sites coming into the data center, right, from a recovery perspective? In some cases we do. In other cases, it'll be the need to be able to run those machines up in a cloud. So, if you've got five engineers that are running a remote site and their data is crucial to them, and their site goes bang, well, then this OneSafe Solo, right, goes directly from the ground all the way to the StorageCraft cloud. And again, combining with that single-click DR platform, right, that we've got, all of a sudden the data is being shared out of the StorageCraft cloud. We've got a couple of VPN software VPN clients, and your users are back up and running and ready to go. So we'll just quickly shift to the next one because I'm a little bit conscious of time, and I know the rest of the StorageCraft team will cover these products off in detail as we go. So we touched very briefly earlier in the call about cloud backup, protecting Office 365 data. So StorageCraft have had a platform in place, I think, since 2017, and certainly we've seen some huge growth in Australia, the things, and New Zealand. One of the things that's worked really, really well for us here is that we have, we do at least one backup every day, up to 3 times daily. We have a retention on this platform that's currently infinite, and therefore our storage is also unlimited, right? So we want to make sure that we're storing that data for, obviously forever, while the service is still current and the tenancy is active of the clients, right? But the thing that makes it, that's interesting. Hopefully you guys saw that I like Domino's for lunch. So from a 365 perspective, right, the things to take out, we back up Mail, SharePoint, OneDrive, we back up Teams data, we have a single model, it's a single per mailbox per month kind of charge. If a user leaves an organisation and you remove that user from Microsoft's tenancy, then that's okay. We've backed up their data, right? We'll still make sure that data can be searched and therefore retrieved very, very easily. It's certainly one of the strengths of the solution. If you consider what Microsoft are now saying at this point in time in terms of a third-party application is necessary to protect your data inside of 365, then we kind of got to listen to that as practitioners and be advising our clients accordingly. Microsoft's a great platform from an availability perspective, but in terms of retention and protection, we really need to consider a platform like StorageCraft Cloud Backup here. Now, I've touched on this piece in a number of the presentations that we have, right, which is, take a Shadow Protect backup, take a Shadow Safe backup, take an SPX backup, right? You can send that wherever you want in the world at this point in time, to a second data center, to a secondary site, to Azure, to AWS, to an alternate provider who you're leasing some storage or you've got some per month storage from, right? In order to properly orchestrate your DR with an SPX, with a Shadow Safe, with a Shadow Protect backup, the easiest and by far the best way to consume that and deploy that is through the StorageCraft Cloud Services platform. So, we've got a partner on the Sunshine Coast here who was sending some backups to our cloud and was treating it like almost like a tape store, really. And then he had the need to produce a live copy for a particular client. I think it was a medical practitioner, and there was and Jono, he developed a whole process around, okay, look, I can take that backup, I can bring it back to Earth, and then I can copy it around and I can stand up the image, back on the infrastructure I've got here. Because at the time he was using the Cloud Basic function of ours, and I said, mate, for about maybe $10 a month more, we can go to a full failover, whereby you've just got to virtualize the machine in our cloud, literally one click, show the practitioner that the records are running in the cloud, make the necessary changes, fill it into an audit document, and then send it off to so that they then basically destroy the copy of the machine after that and continue on your protection regime. So the whole process went down in terms of 2.5 days worth of effort down to about 10 to 15 minutes, and that included the audit documents completed as well. So we start thinking about the efficiencies that we provide back to our channel partners and the benefits that obviously provides with our end users as well. Okay, so that's kind of getting to the end of the session right now, and apologies, we've gone probably about 15 minutes over into your lunchtime period. So I might just chuck myself on mute for a quick second and then roll through to the questions, see if we've got any questions, and then if there's nothing else to continue with, then I guess I'll thank you all for your time, and we'll see what we can do out there in the field together. All right, so I've just had a quick review of what I can see in terms of questions and chat space there. It looks like there's been nothing put through. So look, please stay tuned to the webinar series. We've got a whole heap of stuff happening. I'm on LinkedIn if you've got any questions. If you don't have my email address, and happy to answer any questions after this. And look, if you're not part of the northern region and all the rest of it, happy to start the conversation and direct you to the right person, the right territory manager who's going to help you within your region and locally help you close some opportunities. But all the best. Have a great day, and look forward to chatting to you again soon. Cheers. Thanks.